Hi, and welcome to episode 6 of the 21st Century Pharmacist Show. Today, as usual, we're going to answer some questions, and I just want to give a big thank you to all the people who just came through our summit this past weekend. We've already heard amazing results, and it's only been a few days, so people losing weight, their blood sugar's coming down, their fluids coming off, their blood pressure's reducing. So just remember, when you do the right things and you follow the 5 pillars that I teach, amazing things can happen within our bodies. I believe that God designed our bodies to be healthy, and so I just wanted to say thank you to all those who come. I enjoyed it. We had a great time. We had good food, and it was just a lot of fun to see how well you're doing. All right, we're going to start with the first question today. Cody, what do we have?
Why is intermittent fasting important, and how should we go about doing it?
Okay, so let's start with the second part of the question first. What is intermittent fasting before we get to why it's so important and what kind of health benefits it has? So the method that we teach, and there's many different methods for intermittent fasting, but the method that I find is most sustainable for most folks is to do a 10 to 12 hour window of nothing but water every evening. Now hopefully about 8 of those hours, 7 to 8 of those hours are while we're asleep anyway. So that means if you're one of these folks who gets up in the middle of the night and goes and gets a snack, we need to try to avoid that. So the easiest way is to say have your last meal or snack at 9 p.m. we'll say. So your first meal of the day wouldn't be until 9 a.m. the next morning, 7 to 9. If we can get that 12-hour window in, that's great. Other people adhere to more of a 16-hour intermittent fast and eat all their food in 8 hours. But that's a little bit tougher and requires a little more discipline. So the 10 to 12 hour window has really worked well for people that I've taught in the OptiLife program. So that's what we typically try to do. So it just means the intermittent fast just means a period of no food, just adequate water intake. And that can be different times, but again, we like the 10 to 12 hour window, 12 being optimal for us. And some of the benefits of intermittent fasting, they're pretty profound in the fact that things like an intermittent fast can help reduce our body's insulin levels and help restore our leptin sensitivity. And when I can reduce my insulin levels, the body will then be able to burn and release fat, stored fat in many cases, for energy. So one of the things that I always talk about is the body cannot, will not, does not burn fat, release fat at all when insulin levels are high. And when you look at statistics today, about 50% of Americans have insulin resistance, which means that their insulin levels are creeping up because their body's not using insulin effectively. So that's the first thing that we can do. We can help burn fat by lowering our insulin levels during that fast. And another great hormone that intermittent fasting can affect is our human growth hormone. Some research shows that on a longer fast, like an 18-hour intermittent fast, we can actually increase our human growth hormone up to 5-fold. And so that's pretty significant considering that human growth hormone can help build muscle, help the body build muscle, and help the body burn fat. So again, don't have any research, but we certainly can make the assumption that a 10 to 12-hour intermittent fast will increase our growth hormone significantly, but we don't know how much exactly at this time. And then another great thing that can happen when we intermittent fast is we get cell repair. It's called autophagy is the medical term for it. And autophagy, just think of the body's ability to take out its trash, the body's ability to clean up old cells and excess proteins and things that have accumulated over time. So the body can actually start to take care of these things during an intermittent fast, so we get that cleanup phase. That's what we'll call it. And then another great thing that can happen during an intermittent fast is that we can actually increase our insulin sensitivity. So not only are we decreasing our insulin levels during the fast, but but what we're able to do is increase our insulin sensitivity so that our body doesn't need to produce as much insulin when we eat because the body is more sensitive to it. The cells are more open to it. And so when we can do that, we can help reduce our overall insulin load over a 24-hour period, which again will signal to the body that, hey, you can start releasing that stored fat for energy. So that's some of the great things. The other thing that intermittent fasting can do, and the last one we'll talk about today, is it can positively affect my genes, my gene expression. So intermittent fast can help turn on good genes that promote things like health and longevity, and it can turn off bad genes that promote things like disease and aging. So intermittent fasting has many facets that are positive for our health, and it's something that I certainly adhere to and certainly teach in the OptiLife RX program. So I hope that helps you understand what it is and why we should be considering doing it. And you can start with just 1 day a week. You can start with 3 times a week. Some people like to do it every day. So you can mix it up. There's no right or wrong. It's just giving the body, giving the pancreas, giving the liver, just giving the system time to relax with only water and no food coming in. So Cody, what's number 2?
Why doesn't fat make us fat?
Oh, I love this question. I'm not sure who asked it, but why doesn't fat make us fat? I love that question because let me start this way by answering it. The wrong fats will make us fat, but the right fats will absolutely not make us fat. As a matter of fact, they will do just the opposite. One of the ways that we turn people's body into a fat-burning machine is to eat the right fats. When you eat the right fats, you speed the metabolism. And remember, we need to look at food as information, not as calories. So if you look strictly at calories, fat contains more calories per gram than carbohydrates and protein. It contains 9 calories per gram, and protein and carbohydrates only contain 4 calories per gram. So forget the calorie issue, forget counting, forget weighing, forget measuring, forget points, and worry about what kind of information are you sending to your hormone systems. And so good quality fats actually send great information to my hormone systems so that the same hormones that I discussed earlier in the first question are controlled more effectively. So when I eat good fats, I control my insulin levels. They don't shoot up like they do with sugars. And when I don't have high insulin levels, remember, the body can then release fat. The body can burn fat for energy, which is our most efficient fuel source. So fat doesn't make me fat because it doesn't create a huge insulin response when it's the right fat. Fat also tells my brain and sends signals to my brain that say, hey, everything's okay. Your body is getting full, and so I don't tend to overeat when I eat fat. But when we eat sugary carbohydrates or carbohydrates like wheat or bread or chips or fries, it actually induces more hunger hormones, which then can cause us to overeat. So fat has many benefits in the body. Fat is a big portion of what our brains are made of. Fat makes up a membrane around all the cells in our bodies. So fat has so many positive benefits, and the right quality fats will not make us fat, but will actually help us lose that fat that we all want to lose. So that's a great question. I love that one. That is right up, what we start out with in the OptiLife RX program. And that's how we're able to see people lose as much as 90 pounds in 12 weeks. And that is what we want to teach people to do. They're not starving. They're not counting anything. They're not weighing. They're just eating good quality foods from the fats, the proteins, and the carbohydrates until they're full. So I love that question, Cody, but fat will not make you fat if you choose the right fat. Now, trans fats and the wrong fats can certainly lead to heart disease and can certainly make us fat. And so we can talk about how the right fats actually do not cause heart disease and do not cause bad cholesterol levels on another show. So if anybody wants to send us that question, please do so. You can respond to this video. You can send it to our email. You can send it anywhere you want. We will try our best to answer it as long as we can get it. And we would love for you to like us on Facebook, share us on Facebook, give us a 5-star review, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and be on the lookout for our next free wellness workshop that'll be coming up very soon. See you next time. And the other thing that we find and that the studies show is that most municipality waters today have traces of prescription drugs, and they have traces of contents from skin products that we use, and they have all these different traces of these chemicals and these things that are just in our environment today